Okay, so let's do 5.6, multiplying and dividing a polynomial by a monomial. Let's start with the learning outcome. Last time, to model, record, and explain the operations of multiplication and division of polynomial expressions. Okay, so let's get started. And we're going to be using algebra tiles again. So it says if you want to multiply 2d by 3d, so this time we're multiplying a monomial by a monomial, not just a number by a polynomial, but two expressions. We're going to use this sort of times table model. So these lines are kind of like when you were doing times tables in grade 4, and they look like this. You know, and you had like 1, 2, 3, etc. And then when you wanted to do the answer of 1 times 1, you put it there. The answer to 1 times 2 goes here, etc. Okay, so that's kind of what's going on over here. So if we were going to multiply 2d by 3d, we are going to put what's getting multiplied on the outside, just like over here. So here on the left side, here's our 2d, illustrated by two rectangles, and 3d's on the top. Okay, so 2d times 3d. So the way it works is the length of this has to match the length here. And then the length here has to match the length here. So when we multiply d by d, we are actually going to get a d squared. Remember the rules of the last chapter, and the bases are the same, and we're multiplying, we add the exponents. So the exponents would be 1 and 1. So that would be why there's d squared, or you can think of it, I've got two d's that are being multiplied. Okay, so d times d, d squared, this d times that d, d squared, etc. Okay, so all these d multiplied by d gives us d squared. In the end, we used 6 d squared tiles, so the answer of 2d times 3d is 6d squared. So let's try the example number 1 here. And it says we're going to find the product of 3e times 4e minus 2. So in your booklet, I want you to draw multiplication table lines. And we're going to start by representing 3e. So it's positive, so I'm going to use the white tiles. And it doesn't matter if you put them here, or I could have put them along there. There's no rule about do you start on the up and down or do you start on the side to side. It doesn't matter. Okay, so here's my 3e. Okay, represented by 3 rectangles right here. And then, where's that error message? Let's get rid of it. And then 4e minus 2 is going to look like, now, I have a positive e, and look at how this, you can't have it like this, you got to turn it to its side like that. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 4e. And then minus 2, I'm going to need 2 dark little squares. Okay, so we're going to start by multiplying this by this. So remember what I said, the length of this has to match what goes in here. So this length is going to go here, this length is going to go here. And the way that I can show that is by having a squared, okay? So this here matches up to that, this matches that, okay? Same thing here, same thing here, and same thing here, okay? So the length of this here is going to be the same as the length of this, same as the length of this. Now, what's going to go here? I need the length of this, but then I need a short one, okay? So it's either going to be this one or this one. See, that's how it's going to fit. So it's either positive or negative. Now you got to think, I've got a positive multiplied by a negative, so multiplied when the signs are the same, I get a negative, okay? So that's why I choose that one, and same here. Okay, so this length here, short length here, and then positive, negative. The second row is going to be exactly the same. Okay, so it's the same thing multiplied by that. So I could just simply clone that. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, 50, 51, 52, 53, 54, 55, 56, 57, 58, 59, 60, 61, 62, 63, 64, 65, 66, 67, 68, 69, 70, 71, 72, 73, 74, 75, 76, 77, 78, 79, 80, 81, 82, 83, 84, 85, 86, 87, 88, 89, 90, 91, 92, 93, 94, 95, 96, 97, 98, 99, 100, 101, 102, 103, 104, 105, 106, 107, 108, 109, 110, 111, 112, 113, 114, 115, 116, 117, 118, 119, 120, 1 And there, I filled out my multiplication table. So notice, everything shows being multiplied. Okay, so my final answer, all I have to do is count my tiles. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 squares. And I have 6 negative rectangles. So my answer is 12e squared minus 6e. Okay, so could you pause here? Could you try the check and then come back? All right, so welcome back. Here is the check. We're going to multiply 2f by 4f. So 2f. This time I'm going to start at the top. So 2f that way, and I'm going to start at the top. Doesn't matter which side you start. 2f times 4f. I'm going to cheat. And have 4f there. So, and if you want, you can extend this line. Doesn't matter. It's fine, but extend it if that makes you feel better. Won't go straight now, will it? Oh, darn. I'll have to draw a new one. There we go, straight. Okay. So 2f times 4f, they're both positive, both white, match up the lengths. So as you can see, the only thing that will suit both of those lengths is that square. And so this times those two will result in that. This is the exact same thing, so I can clone them. And I'm done. So my answer would be 8 f squared. I've got 8 of these squares. My variable is f, so 8f squared. Okay, second one, 3m. I'll go here this time. 3 of these, 3m times negative 2m plus 4. Okay, negative, so I have to have this one, and I have to turn it because I'm up top. Negative 2m, but plus 4, so they're positive. Okay. So I've got my 3m here, I've got my negative 2m plus 4. Now just match up the lengths. Keep in mind here, I've got a positive times a negative, so that has to be a negative. Okay, this length, same as this length, same as that. Do it again, positive times negative. Now here it's positive times positive, and I'm going to put this here. This length matches up there, and then this length matches up there. And then I'm going to do it 3 more times so that everything is being multiplied by everything. Okay, I'm going to do it again because it's just the same thing multiplied by what I did. And one last time so that everything gets multiplied. So in the end, I have, I'm going to write the answer down here. In the end, I have negative 6m squared and plus 12m for 8, 12. Okay, negative 6m squared plus 12m. All right, so what about without algebra tiles? So without algebra tiles, you just have to make sure, like we did before, that everything gets distributed. We're going to use the distributive property again. So if I have 3x times 9x minus 4, remember that means that this 3x has to get multiplied by everything inside the bracket. So the way that I remind myself is I draw arrows. So I'm going to multiply 3x by 9x. The 3 times 9 is 27. The x times x, x squared. Okay, start again. 3x times negative 4. Well, the 3 times negative 4 is 12, but negative 12, positive times negative, negative, and then the x. That's the answer to A. B, negative 6x times negative 7x plus 5. Draw your arrows so that you remember that this needs to be multiplied by that, and this needs to be multiplied by that. Okay, so negative 6 times negative 7 is positive 42. X times x, x squared. Negative 6 times positive 5 is negative 30, and x. That easy. Okay, so try the checks, and I think, oh no, we still have to do dividing. We wouldn't be done. Okay, so try the check, pause here, and then come back. Okay, so I want you here to make sure that you do draw those arrows. They're very helpful to remind yourself what you need to do. Make sure that that 7x gets multiplied by everything inside the bracket, and that's what they're showing you here. Remember that you're going to take 7x and times by 4x. They're even helping you out here and showing you that you're going to get x squared. You just need to remember that 7 times 4 is 28. This plus goes there. The x gets transferred down, and it's just 7 times 5, 35. So 28x squared plus 35x. B, distribute that s through the binomial. So I'm going to have s times negative 3s. Remember, this is like a 1s. So 1 times negative 3, negative 3. And then s times s, s squared. And then s over here, 1s times 4 is simply 4s. Okay, last one. Now I'm not going to do that middle step by multiplying or by writing down when I'm multiplying. I'm just going to go ahead and multiply it. So I have negative 9 times 4, negative 36, r times r squared. Negative times negative is positive. Negative 9 times negative 5 is positive 45, and then that r. So hopefully that went okay. Okay, moving on to dividing. So it says here to divide a polynomial by a monomial, we use what we already know about division. Okay, so it says to divide 6a squared by 3a, we would write the fraction as a product of two fractions and then simplify. So they're saying that 6a squared divided by 3a, what they've done here is they've just separated the coefficients, because 6 divided by 3 is 2, that's easy. And then they have a squared divided by a, and they're reminding you here, hey, remember that a squared means a times a. Okay, so you can go ahead and cancel that a on the bottom with one of the a's on the top, leaving you with just an a. So overall answer is 2a. So if we go through this example here, we have find the quotient of negative 8s squared plus 6s divided by negative 2s. So hopefully you remember from when we did this before that I want you to separate them into two separate fractions. So negative 8s squared over negative 2s plus, okay, this plus here, 6s divided by negative 2s. So break it down into the numbers and the letters. Start with this. Negative 8 divided by negative 2. Okay, so negative 8 divided by negative 2 is 4. Here I've got two s's on the top and I only have one s on the bottom. Remember, that's kind of like s times s. You could cancel that with that, leaving an s. That plus gets transferred down. Here I have 6 divided by negative 2 is negative 3. This s cancels that s, so I've got no s's. So my answer could be 4s plus negative 3, but it would be better to write 4s minus 3 instead of writing plus and negative. So see if you can do those yourself in the check, and then yeah, we're done after that part. Okay, so try these 3 questions and then come back. All right, so let's finish up. They want you to put them into numbers and letters. So on this line, you need to write 12 over negative 6 times a squared over a. 12 divided by negative 6 would be negative 2. They're showing you that you could cancel one of the a's on the top with one of the a's on the bottom. So I have negative 2 times a, which is just plain negative 2a. Okay, B, divide them into two separate fractions. So I'd have 9b squared over 3b and 3b over 3b. 9 divided by 3 is 3. 2 b's on the top, one of them on the bottom, so that leaves one on the top. Okay, it would be b times b over b, cancel, leaving a b on the top, plus, now anything divided by itself is 1, 3b divided by 3b. So my answer is just 3b plus 1. Last one, negative 14c squared over negative 7c plus 21c over negative 7c. Do the numbers. Okay, so think of it as the numbers and then the letters. Okay, so I have negative 14 divided by negative 7 is 2. 2 c's on the top, only 1 on the bottom, canceling, leaving 1 on the top, plus 21 divided by negative 7, negative 3. C's completely cancel, so I would write 2c minus 3. All right, so that's the end of the chapter. So make sure that you finish everything in your booklet, all the reviews, all the online quizzes. Make sure your chapter task is done, get that learning journal completed, and get ready for your chapter 5 test.